Hi everyone, it's Catharine MacIntosh here with Listed, and I feel especially honored today to be with Suzy Goldstein, who's with Sutton Group Admiral, and we are in your home, and you are going to be on camera, and this is quite amazing because I understand this is sort of a rare thing, so I want to welcome you and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What actually made you say yes when I invited you to have a conversation with me?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's you.
Thank you.
So, Catherine, you're an inspiration for me just to see a woman that's so successful, who's connected to the industry and who's so passionate about what that they do. And we haven't met that long ago, actually, just about a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And just your passion about what it is that you do was so exciting for me. I couldn't say no to you even to try your listed because you were so passionate about it. I'm like, I'm gonna try. And then just I love it so much. And I love your attentiveness to all of us. You know, you're always there. So that's why we're here together.
Thank you. I mean, I really care about every person who loves it is like a little gosling in the family of listed users. Is so
Right.
amazing. And it's funny because it stemmed from me really wanting consumers to be served and supported. And I saw early on the only way that was going to happen, regardless of any technology, was through the connection of having a great realtor.
Right.
So that, back to you, is one of the reasons we're here, because you've had a long career. And actually, when I was meeting your broker of record, we stopped in our meeting and he said, I'm going to stop right now and call one of my best realtors and see what they think about this. And in our meeting, he stopped and he phoned you.
Yeah.
And then in a take action right away moment, I came over and met you.
Right.
And that was our first meeting.
Exactly. And I was already a little bit introduced to it. I had already heard it. There was a little bit of buzz around, you know, realtors in the neighborhood or realtors that we network with and connect with. So I was a little bit familiar with it, but I was more interested in how is this different from any other app, right? And how is this going to benefit me and my clientele? Because, you know, it's so simple. There's realtors that are just about just pushing out sales, just you know, bam, 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 and not keeping relationships or not educating the public, and that's not who I am. So when this came out and I saw the tools that this gives, you know, the client gives myself, I was much more interested in learning more.
Exactly. And so what's interesting to me is how tech savvy or not certain people feel. Because I'd like to ask you, how tech savvy are you? And I would say that you have the most stellar quality, which is willingness to try and being open-minded, and then you overcome any technical barriers. So how tech savvy are you and how easy was it for you?
So I would not consider myself tech savvy at all. I feel like I've been in this industry for a really long time. I've seen changes from the hot sheets way, way back to just the introduction to the internet and how real estate was you know, put in effectively into the internet. And then all the changes, and there's been so many. I think that so that wasn't so difficult. First of all, I was younger, it was easier. I think that as things progress, it's been a little bit more difficult, you know, seeing these changes and keeping up with them. I think 2024 has been a huge change for realtors. There's been so many changes. So naturally, trying to keep up with technology and the forms changing and the industry changes and the rules and regulations, like naturally it's been harder. I think that this particular app in general is so incredibly user friendly. You just play around with it a little bit and you get to know the nuances of it, and It's so simple.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yes, because you've had so much change, not only from a technological perspective, but from rules and regulations.
Right.
So just prior to us sitting down here, you were telling me that realtors that may be tech savvy, may not be tech savvy, you're just overwhelmed with so much new stuff to learn.
Right.
I hoped that Listed could make that easier.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the Realtor Cooperation Policy, which is a national policy
Mm-hmm.
that guides the rules and regulations concerning exclusive and coming soon listings,
Mm-hmm.
we baked that into Listed.
Right.
And so I love that you discovered it and were one of the first people to get in and try it. But I also love that your whole history that goes back a long time with real estate. This
Yeah.
is your life career.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have an interesting relationship and have seen the change and shift in all kinds of listing inventory. So I wonder if you could share, what is an exclusive and coming soon listing? When would a person want to use it or not use it? And whatever you want to share about that.
So let's loop back to the first question you asked me,
Yes.
which was, why are we here today? Why did you agree to do this? So it was really like a week or so ago where I posted something in our general network of chat, our chat group, following the new rules and regulations
Yeah.
for an exclusive listing, which is, you know, you can't give the address. It has to be more of a one-on-one conversation. So if anybody, the way we do is if anyone's interested, give me a call type of thing. Well, you immediately picked up the phone and called me and you're like, Suzy, let's get this out on Listed. And I was like, but how? And I just didn't know. Like I heard, like, actually, I did hear a little buzz that Listed has a way of getting exclusives and coming soons out.
Compliantly.
But I didn't know how. And you
Mhm.
picked up the phone and you called me. And you just amazed me. It was so incredibly easy. You walked me through that one exclusive.
You did it on your own.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but you walked me through it. It took literally 3 minutes. And then I'm like, well, hey, I have a coming soon. And you're like, let's do it. I'm like, okay, don't hang up. Let's do this together. And we did it together and it was equally as easy. What amazed me, which I couldn't believe, was in the compliance rules is that we can only do this one-on-one communication with other realtors. It can't be like what we used to do. We
Yeah.
used to be able to email blast
Yeah.
or to chat group blast or to social media blast. We can't do any of that anymore.
You can't even put it on your own website under a login.
No. So it has to be more of a one-on-one engagement with either the public or with another realtor.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand how Listed could make this happen. How could this work? And so that was my conversation with you. Like, how, like, you're like, let's put it on Listed. I'm like, but we can't. And you're like, no, it's completely compliant. Let's just do this. And so when we got to the end,
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it, where we just, I don't know, what is it called? The little tab that we clicked on that connected me with everyone.
So there's a simple row that
Yeah.
says send listing to an agent, because you might actually know agents who work
Right.
in an area who you want to send it to in a direct one-to-one communication.
Right.
But I think the innovation you're referring to
Yeah.
is that we actually know all the people in the globe who are on Listed who are searching for real estate that matches your listing, so we can bundle it up as suggestions and have it sit there in your send listing to an agent, and you can see the agents who they themselves or who have clients interested in that listing
Exactly.
and tell you about it. Then you choose to send it to them or not.
It was absolutely so amazing when you said, just watch and see what happens. Just click this. And I saw all these agent names pop up and I'm like, where does this end? It was unbelievable. And then I was able to individually send each of those agents a notification that, hey, I have an exclusive in your neighborhood. And I'm telling you, within hours, and still even today, so this was last week,
Yeah.
and still even today, I got a call today for that same listing. So it's like immediate interaction and immediate attraction, that lasts. Like, so what's different from how, how I was doing things until that conversation last week, still being compliant, was that we put it out on our little individual chat groups that isn't giving out a whole lot of information and waiting for realtors to respond or call you directly for the information.
Right.
Right? And then once another realtor chats on that group, and then another one chats on that group, and like it keeps going down and down and down the row. You lose it, right?
Yep.
And I just changed my phone, and my phone wasn't compliant with Signal, and I lost all my conversations on Signal. So you lose all of that. You can't even scroll back in my case to previous conversations or previous chats that were going on. So with listed, it's always there until you say it's not.
Yes,
right?
and
So
it's also immediate. If you search Rosedale,
right,
whether it was listed 3 weeks ago or this morning,
yeah,
you're going to get Rosedale.
yeah,
And all the suggestions that were suggested to you of agents who might be interested are being suggested because they or their clients actually have interest. So it's relevant.
yeah,
Everything is relevant and timely,
yeah,
which makes such a difference in real estate.
exactly.
The other thing I want to ask you about is, one of the other reasons I couldn't wait to invite you to this and do this with you is just you always put the consumer first, and you always have. And so your ability to offer all kinds of listing inventory to them and really take their experience to heart. So for example, on listed, if you put up, like the listings you put up, your seller owns their own data through agency of the brokerage through you.
Mm-hmm.
It's private. Any of the agents you've sent it to, you have an organized list of everyone you've sent it to.
Right.
You can have a conversation with your seller. You're absolutely in control of their data for them, and it's private.
Right.
And you're meeting the law, and you're cooperating with your fellow agents.
Correct. And you're introducing a product to a real estate product that is user-friendly to the consumer, which is so important because they also have control now too,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that's amazing that I don't, my clients just absolutely love it. They really do. I'm always trying to engage them into a conversation like, how's it working for you? And have you been playing around with it while you're lying in bed at night? Because that's, it's just, it can be consuming. Real estate's really fun.
Yep.
And there's so much that you can learn from it. And this app, I think, allows you to just navigate through it so seamlessly.
Thank you. Yes, because prior to listed, when was it that you could literally crawl into bed with your clients and, they have a long work week, a long day, they barely get any time together. If they're looking to move or even look at their own neighborhood, it's in these intimate moments where all of a sudden all the information is there and you're at their fingertips. And I think that was what was missing before, is like an internet search where they're just Googling and they're finding disparate stuff. And then you have tools through the real estate board, which are great, but they're not always the kind of tools that are like your clients are on, like on a Friday night, like they are Instagram.
Right.
So because we support organized real estate, we integrated with the boards across Canada. So now you probably know from your perspective, it's so easy to just log into Treb, or people can log into Matrix or whatever board they're with.
Right.
But your clients are getting everything in one cohesive platform where everything is the same.
Correct. So that actually, aside from the client, I'm going to just talk about how it's affected me and my work. That's actually been so prevalent in my work and how I deal with it daily. I'm on listed many times, multiple times daily.
Yeah.
It's the easiest at your fingertips. Logging in to the Toronto Real Estate Board is multiple steps, right? It's not as mobile friendly as you'd like it to be. So listed is very easy and mobile friendly, and it's just open it up and it's there. So for me, it's a lot faster. I just use it all the time. If I'm just for basic data, I use it really all the time, right? The thing that Listed doesn't have, which as a realtor, like you can't book appointments from Listed, for
Oh,
example.
you can.
You can book appointments from Listed? Yeah.
Actually,
Well, really?
it keeps evolving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have to show me how
Yeah.
to do that too. Because I will do my searches on Listed. I will, when I'm in appointments, pull it up.
Yeah.
And I show it to clients. Like if I'm at a listing appointment and they're talking about another house down the street, I can just easily pull that house up.
Yeah.
And then they immediately get on Listed because it's so easy. One of the nice things for the client that they've told me also, and I've experienced it myself, is when you're on this particular app, you're not committing or registering or selling any of your personal information.
Yeah.
So it's so important to know that, because I don't even know if I'm allowed to speak about other apps or websites, but pretty much all of them are selling your phone number, your email address, or something as leads to other agents, right? So I just went on to another board outside of Canada the last couple of days. And I didn't really go onto a board. I was Googling addresses that I was looking for.
So you had the consumer experience.
Oh my goodness. My emails have just exploded from every single realtor that I clicked on a listing. So I'm scrolling through listings. I'm looking for something. And so now they all have, I did it for my phone. So now they all have been contacting me through my phone or through my email address, or there was a sign up pop up on these websites where you have to put in your personal information in order to get access to the data, the pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all.
With Listed. No, for sure.
So this is what makes it different from anything else. So it's not like that hideous realtor who, your listing has expired and 40 of them are now calling you because that information is now public and everybody's after you. That's what I feel like it's like as a consumer when you're just scrolling on the internet looking for something, and that it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't. And the other thing, from our perspective, serving the consumer through the agent, was that consumers didn't seem to understand that they're not supposed to be contacting the listing agent, who's the one person that's representing the seller.
Right.
Or every listing, like in your experience, where every listing was a different realtor.
Right.
How are you supposed to develop a relationship or succeed if you've just contacted 10 realtors? Right? Who do you call? What do you do? So at every moment, we use technology to enhance the human relationship. Your clients being connected to you, their privacy being respected, and you guys just having a fun, easy, simple time for what's really actually a stressful thing sometimes. Like real estate is fun to look at, but it's really important. So anything that can help make the pricing or knowing what an area is like we talked earlier about, people always ask you at a party or when you're out, hey, what's the market like? Right? And you had a great answer. Can you talk to me about what your answer is when people ask you that? So
I'm like, what market? Right? Like, because there's so many different markets, there's so many different parts to the market. And the context of that conversation that we were having was actually, we were talking about exclusives.
Right.
Right? And I think that that the data collection is a big part of it. So when someone is to ask you how's the market, they kind of already know, because the information that they're wanting from you is they just want to hear is what is promoted in the media. Is that accurate? Like, you're in the front lines. Is that real? Is that what, so, there's so many multiple, elements to answering that question. Like, what are you looking for? I would ask them.
Right.
What kind of information are you looking for? Because are you looking to ask me, is Toronto Real Estate Board accurate? My answer would be no, it's not at all accurate. There is exclusive sales that happen off market, that aren't registered. And the Toronto Real Estate Board only has data that pertains to what is registered through the board. So that's inaccurate, right? There's a lot of, really active agents that I network with daily that do a lot of off-market sales. So none of those sales are indicated in any of these stats that they're getting. So how is the market? Are we talking about the percentage of increase or decrease in sales, the percentage of increase or decrease in prices? Are we talking about where we're standing right now? Are we talking about, downtown Toronto? Are we talking about condos? Are we talking about houses? Are we talking about cottages? Like what market? Because the Toronto Real Estate Board statistics they break them down into houses, condos, and things like that. But what they don't break down is neighborhoods. And there probably is data that's a little bit deeper that you can find that, but then again, it doesn't include what happens off market.
Right.
So the general information that the Toronto Real Estate Board posts, and then they post their monthly stats.
Yeah.
Those are just generalized information. It can't possibly be accurate. So as a consumer, you need to reach out to a realtor in the area that you're considering either buying or selling in. And if you really want to know that information, define exactly what it is that you're looking for. How is the market? Meaning, are houses selling in my neighborhood, on market, off market? How many houses have sold lately? What's the parameters of the neighborhood, right? Are we looking at houses between 2 and 3 million? Are we looking at houses over 5 million? Give more information. Any realtor that answers the question simply as, oh, it's great, or oh, it's slow,
Right.
is not really giving you any real information.
Yes, this is so enlightening. And when we were speaking earlier, no matter how good your tool is, no matter who you are, what organization you are, you're always going to be limited by if you don't have all the inventory. And I think what people don't realize, even some realtors, is that there isn't one MLS, there are many MLSs. So whether it's Toronto or Oakville or whatever board it is,
Right.
it could be perfect.
Yeah.
But if you're getting a perfect statistic from incomplete information, it's challenging. And what I really applaud the boards for doing, especially TREB, is integrating with us. So now you can log straight into Realm and get that information. And for the information they're missing, when they allow and accelerate the ease and interoperability where you can have a front end like listed, or even if there was another option,
Right.
where you are getting all the data within the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, but also outside of it.
Yeah.
So it's one cohesive place, and it actually strengthens organized real estate.
Yeah.
And back to all the inventory, they haven't quite realized this yet, but we have a meeting set up with the Canadian Real Estate Association to talk to them about it. But the Realtor Cooperation Policy really wanted consumers to just know what you've always explained, the difference between an exclusive and a coming soon, which I want to get you to talk about, just so that they were sure that consumers could make the choice that's right for them. But they didn't go this second level, which was, okay, if the choice happens to be right to list exclusively or have a coming soon, how can we make that easy and possible for the realtor to provide that?
Right.
And so we have this way, and I'd love your thought on this, to take the anonymized aggregate data about exclusive and coming soon listings and be able to feed it back to the boards and back to the Canadian Real Estate Association so that they can be the source of truth for all data.
That would be wonderful if they would agree to do it. That would be wonderful, right?
Well, their mandate
Right.
is to help agents uphold the one tenant cooperation and compensation. So I can't imagine they wouldn't love to do this.
Right.
Because ultimately that will serve the end consumer.
Ultimately, correct.
So can you talk to us about exclusive and coming soon? What does that even mean? And maybe even your relationship to it. Back in the days where you couldn't even find a listing on the internet because there was no internet and it was big books and papers like you were
Right.
talking about.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between on market and off market even?
Okay, so I think like set aside coming soons because
Okay.
let's just talk about exclusives for a moment because I
Okay.
think it's a bit of a bigger conversation. Um, so exclusives are not on market. So they're not on the MLS, which is they're not generally open to the large public audience.
Yes.
Okay, so there's positives and negatives of doing an exclusive listing for both the sellers and the buyers. And how things were and how things are a little bit different as mandates and things have changed and we have to be more compliant to certain new rules that have come out. But essentially what it is that it's a seller who doesn't wish to have their property marketed and promoted publicly would choose to go in an exclusive route. And they could have so many different reasons why they would choose that. They like privacy. They don't want just anybody seeing their house. They don't want their neighbors knowing what they're doing. They could be a public figure. We have that very often. So they don't want that intrusion into their home. They want qualified, vetted buyers only. They want it simplified in many different ways. They don't want to stage their house. They don't want to paint their house. They feel like maybe exposing it to a network of individuals that are looking to purchase without having it go on a grand scale is potentially a better option for them and their families. And I think that is a great thing. I think that people should actually have that choice.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important because there are extenuating circumstances and situations where people need to do something exclusively as opposed to doing it on an MLS system. So that's sort of what it is. Now, why would a buyer want to purchase something exclusively? Right?
Yep.
So there's pros and cons why a buyer would. They're getting exclusive access. That makes them feel like king and queen, right? Yep. It's amazing that their realtor is able to get them into a property that is essentially not open to the general public. And they can either love it or not. It's up to them, right? And they can either make the choice of purchasing it or not. Sometimes there is a better deal to be had. Sometimes you're paying a little bit more of a premium in order to have that exclusivity. And that's also okay because they know that they're not competing with other potential purchasers. And they know that they're not under a time pressure in the same way that it could in a very fast moving market if it's on MLS. So there's a lot of positives and negatives that go for a buyer and a seller in doing an exclusive listing. Sorry,
okay, now
go ahead.
So just to stay with the exclusives instead of the coming soon for a moment there. So once someone fully understands and knows, yes, this is what I want for their reasons.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it was very hard to understand as the listing agent how to gain exposure. And so your network and your personal networks and who you know really matters and
correct.
It's so important, right? And that's pick up the phone and your own black book and everything. And so listed with our broker list has changed and amplified that in some ways for you.
Unbelievably, just from that example that we spoke about last week, when we, hit that button and it presented me with all agents that I could directly now contact that have some sort of interest in that neighborhood.
And now you have control over who you send it to back for some of the reasons of privacy or qualification of who you might want to send it to. You could call up that agent and say, I have something, qualify them, and then send it to them. So you're in control for your seller.
You're definitely in control. I don't think people really understand, even consumers understand how large the Toronto Real Estate Board is and how many realtors we are. I think we're at 77,000 or something.
Yeah.
So it's huge. And listed essentially has this ability to have everybody on it,
Yeah.
right? You can talk about how brokerages line themselves up and get all of their agents on it, but the more agents that are on listed, the more the consumer benefits from it and the realtor.
Yeah.
It makes our lives and our work, it gives us another tool in which we are able to service the client, whether it be the seller or the buyer. In this method, especially in the exclusive method, it's beyond unbelievable.
Thank
It
you.
really, like when I was talking to other agents from my chat about this exclusive listing that I put out, and I wanted them to see like the listing that you and I put together on Listed.
Yeah.
And I said to them, just go on Listed and all the information's there if you want any more information. Listed. Some of them knew about it. Most of them did. Some of them didn't. But I was educating these agents that I was speaking to and trying to explain to them, guys, like you need to get on this because this is an exclusive on an app. Like this is like with all these new rules and regulations that we are being bound by, we have this ability to reach out to so many people.
Yeah.
Right? Like of the listed agents that I got to click on that day,
Yeah.
I didn't know them all.
Interesting. So you're growing
Right?
your own network in a controlled manner as well.
100%.
Yeah. And I don't know that originally when we developed this, the CEOs of some top brokerages had come to us and said, hey, we had this thing with another company. We lost the ability to share exclusive listings between brokerages. Could you make something? And the real challenge was that what the brokers want to do is kind of control it, like have the listings be uploaded at admin and have it on a PC and everything else. And what we saw happening was that you guys have so much to do. It was just easier to upload it on a chat group. And it wasn't until that became no longer possible or legal
Right.
that it really had to change. And I think the most important thing for us is that being unlisted, it totally de-risks the challenges that a brokerage faces in terms of representing its sellers and the data that it has, because it's accountable. We're based on the real estate data schema. And if you're posting something on a social media or a chat group where you don't even know, they're not even real estate based, like imagine taking your $5 million listing and putting it out to 1,000 people on a chat group and not even knowing where it's landing.
Right.
Like I would never again do that knowing
Right.
that there was a safe alternative.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. What I can't understand is, okay, like if anyone is watching and thinking, like, I can't even believe you're just so coming here talking to me because you want to. There's nothing in it for us.
Right.
I'm not paying you to say this. Like, it's
Right.
amazing, right? So when I am giving, and I'll be giving to anyone who wants to receive,
Right.
and which you've learned,
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled that you're so receptive. And that's partly why I think your clients must be so fortunate, because I'm really surprised at realtors who are so skeptical. I guess it's because they have so much going on. They don't know what to trust.
It's true. It's true. And I think that a lot of times, realtors that have a presence in the market, we get contacted by a lot of people.
Right. Yeah.
Like window cleaners and gardeners and drapery companies and handyman and builders, and the list goes on and on and on. And at some point, as a realtor who is part of that, I get exhausted from it,
Yeah.
and you want to be pleasant and you don't want to close doors on people, but at the same time, you also want to reciprocate. Right? You want it, like I really perk up and listen to somebody who has something to say that is reciprocal.
Yeah.
Like not just, Suzy, here's my business card, put me in your contacts and call me when you need a landscaper. That's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
In some ways that is reciprocal. I need you, I will call you, you will show up, right? But with our relationship, it's different because it's like, yes, you're offering a service, right? You're saying it initially, which I know you got a lot of backlash from initially. It's like, it felt like one of those like sales pitches. Here is something new. I want you to try it. It was reciprocal. It was, you actually picked up the phone and said, I know this is going to really change your life. Let me show you how this is going to work. And I was skeptical. And I was also like, when you said, all I need is like, I don't even remember. I think you were coming from Marie and you were saying, all I need is like a half an hour. I'm like, it is a lot to take of somebody's time when they're busy. But you know what? It did. It changed and affected ways that I do business daily because I use it all the time. And I thought that is reciprocal. You're doing something for me, and I'm doing something for you. This is why I'm here today. I'm doing something for you. It's just, we need to help each other.
And our mutual aligned interest is that there is this amazing app that consumers can just download and use and get an amazing realtor so that their goals are heard and understood, and they have success.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never sent a single realtor an email or a text saying, hey, have you heard about Listed? Every single communication is either from a person's own client who's let them know about it, or another colleague who's let their colleague know about it. And the reason it was so important for us to grow that way is I know that you get so many lead generation, especially digital services, constantly.
Yes.
And how
my gosh, so many.
How do you even decide?
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, we'll just grow more slowly, but grow organically.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we did was I had someone say to me, what if I invite all my clients to Listed and then I can't pay for it, or I don't want the premium version, or I can't use it? And I thought, yeah, well, other services just cut you off. But what if we could actually make a version that is free so that if a realtor couldn't pay for it, but their client really wanted to use it with them, the consumer is never unable to say to a realtor who, as long as they have a valid real estate license with a valid primary board, to work with them. Because then, even though the realtor has a quite limited version, because you get what you pay for, they're not prevented from giving their client full service and full opportunity.
And I think that there's something to add to that. So in those conversations that I was having with realtors, they all thought why would I be using this and sharing this with my clients? Like, they couldn't understand that they thought, and a number of them thought, that sharing it with their client meant that their client had access to any other agent,
right?
And their information, and that's not how it works. So it's like you've talked about it a number of times, but you haven't really gone into exactly what it is. So you've said their privacy is protected. So as a client, their privacy is protected, but as a realtor, their business is protected. So you can share this app easily with anybody.
Yeah.
And when they're scrolling through it, you are still mentioned as their realtor, as their contact point. There isn't really anyone. I don't think there's anyone else.
There's no one else.
There's no one else mentioned, right?
Your app is Suzy.
Yeah, that's it. So it looks like even one of my clients said to me once, "Is it you created this app?" And I laughed. Yeah, right. But it's easily branded to be you, and that's exactly what it is as a realtor. So there is that sense of protection for a realtor. I really encourage realtors to get onto it. I think that it's really smart. I think that you're adding another tool to your tool bag. It's really smart. And it's really smart for the consumer to be using it because of all the protection tools that are in the app itself.
Yeah.
That, their personal information isn't exposed, like all the number of things that we just discussed.
Exactly. Yeah. And how it's the one place where they actually have access to all the inventory through their trusted person.
Right.
Yes, so they're not missing anything.
And how fun is it that you get the exclusives?
Right?
Right? Because there isn't any app that has that. It just
clients can never see the exclusive, of course.
Right.
But they do see. So we didn't come back to coming soon.
Okay.
So we put up your exclusive.
Right.
But let's come full circle to coming soon.
To coming soon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is something that how it worked before and how it works now. There was no real parameters around it coming soon. Like as a real estate agent, we could market promote, put a sign on the lawn, coming soon. There wasn't really anything that guided us or had boundaries around the coming soon, because it was something that I guess realtors themselves just created this coming soon thing.
Yeah.
And so basically what it was is that if a realtor marketed or promoted a coming soon or put a coming soon sign on a lawn, maybe that seller wasn't ready to go on MLS. They were waiting for something personally. They were prepping their house, getting it ready for sale, or any number of things. They just aren't ready yet. But the agent wants to get drive-by traffic or wants to try to drum up business and, create a little bit of heat under the listing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was sort of what the purpose of the coming soon was, right? What changed with the new rules is that coming soon can now only be if it's intended to go on the market within 3 days.
Right.
And within those 3 days, you cannot show the property. You cannot engage anybody into bringing them into the home because it is considered a coming soon. So not one person has access over another within those 3 days. So it does provide a similar heat under the listing, but not for a longer period of time. It's very limited. It's very limited. What I like about how we did the coming soon, though, which was brilliant, I wouldn't have thought of it. You actually told me. I have a coming soon coming out. I mean, we just moved up the date. So we were thinking it was going to come out in September.
Right.
We moved up the date to the beginning of August. You suggested to me, put it out as an exclusive in as right now. And then it'll convert itself 3 days before the intended date to come out onto the market. And that'll make it, that will be the coming soon period.
The public period.
The public period. Yeah.
Yeah. When we found that a lot of realtors weren't even sure about the difference between an exclusive and coming soon. And coming soon in the 3-day period is only relevant for publicly marketing the property.
Correct.
And a direct one-to-one communication or agents within your own brokerage is not considered public marketing.
Right.
So if you had, back when the date was still September and you put it out the other day, it can be live on listed with the coming soon and you're still choosing coming soon. And the reason you're choosing coming soon is it is intended at some point to go to the MLS. And that just distinguishes it from never intended to go to the MLS.
Right.
So if it's intended to go to the MLS, until it enters its 3-day public marketing period, it is naturally an exclusive and only available to the people who can see it. So this has been a hard thing for me to explain to people. So I've been thinking about it like invisible ink. Like, when you're little and you took lemon juice and sugar and made a secret note. It's like there could be coming soon or exclusive listings on the map that other realtors and the public can't see, but then they draw a shape and save their saved search. Oh, and then Suzy gets a notification that someone's interested and you can choose to send it to them. So it does exist, they just can't see it because access is always being monitored to suit the functionality of the rules and regulations of the various national policies and the real estate boards.
Right.
And back to our earlier conversation, we see listed as always working in tandem with the boards to be their best front end and to serve the gap in the market that they have by, through you, allowing you and your clients to have a seamless experience with all the inventory and follow the rules.
Right. Exactly. And they're not going to get that unless they get listed.
Right. They have to be on listed.
That's what's important. That's maybe my personal ulterior motive for being here as well, is that, this is such a great tool, but without other realtors using the tool, I have the tool, but like I don't have all the inventory,
Yeah.
right? So it would be ideal if more realtors got on and they knew how to use it. And they, oh my goodness, like drafting up a listing for MLS, it's such a daunting task for me. I hate doing it because
Yeah.
it really is. There's so much to do. There's so much paperwork. There's so much, it is so easy. I just wish that MLS
Could have our ad edit.
right. It is so easy. It literally takes 3 minutes to put a listing together.
And it's very detailed.
Absolutely. It's no
Yeah.
less detailed than an MLS listing.
Yeah.
But on an MLS listing, there's so many multiple steps that you have to do just to log in. Right? And here you're just in and you just add a listing. And it's like you get to work right away. I could literally create listings in my car, sitting on the
You
driveway
could.
before I walk into my house and craziness starts. Right?
Okay, what do you think of this? How exciting would it be if your clients or people who discover you, because as you're the only agent enlisted, like your one client who thought it was your app,
Yeah.
when they share listings or share things from listed,
Yeah.
you're going along with it and you're growing.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a whole other reason that
That it should be like there's so many advantages for a realtor. It's beyond, I don't know why they're sitting back and not doing
I
it.
know.
And right now
Too good to
it's
be
like
true.
it's free. So just do it.
Yeah.
Like get your feet wet. Just do it.
Yeah.
See how amazing it is. Start sharing it with people and you will not believe how your business will grow and how easy it is. It's unbelievable. And you know what? It adds a little bit of trust and like when your clients are getting this app, they get onto it, right?
Yeah.
It's you that sends it to them, right?
Yeah.
Your client gets onto it, takes 2 seconds to get onto it.
Yeah.
And then you're communicating with them through listed. You're sending them listings, they're commenting, you're writing notes. You can do whatever you want and communicate with them through listed. It gives you credibility, right?
It does.
So much credibility. Like you have so much access to everything, right? And how often, truthfully, as a realtor, you have to walk around and ask people, how often are they attached to their laptop or their desktop? You can't sit still and be successful. It's impossible. So this is, it's meant as a mobile app. It's unbelievable. It's so easy to use. And like I said, and I truly believe that, like sitting in the car and just, you have no idea how often I do that. I convey information through listed while I'm sitting in the car because it's just easier than having to log in and multiple codes and then, and it's really not like our MLS system is not so mobile friendly. Like there's just way too much information on the screen that your fingers can't really navigate it. It's really not so mobile friendly. Whereas listed, it's not like that. It's not intimidating to use because there isn't that much information on the screen. It's just exactly really what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to switch into something else, like you've got easy tabs in order to do that and they're visible, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that it just takes time for people to play around with it. You and I were playing around with the directions today,
Yeah.
which was funny
because
I didn't know how easy it was. It is so easy. Like I thought, okay, like on MLS, it'll, you hit map and it'll drop your pin on the map. But this is like, well, this is just what I want while I'm driving. I want it not only to drop the pin on the map, but I want it to show me how far is the walk from the school because I know that my client, like they want to walk their kids every morning to school or they want their older daughter to walk home by themselves. So they don't want the walk to be more than 6 or 7 minutes. Like you can, like that's right there.
Did you discover the commute where you can put in a commute?
I saw that too,
good.
but I haven't played around with it. But this was something that was so important to me. And I was bringing that up to you today and you were like, no, it's right there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's so simplified. It really simplifies the complex.
Yeah.
So it can be tucked away and you can miss it too. But I think the big thing is to just tap and touch everything and then
That's exactly what it is.
tells you what to do.
It tells you what to do. It's the
Yeah.
same thing when you're creating a listing. Just tap everything. Like there's not much to tap. It's just it sort of prompts you into what to do, and it's just so easy. Yeah.
Well, I think kudos to real estate boards who are trying to serve their members, are recognizing that the best way to have the best technology is to support innovation and let what the consumers and realtors want
Yeah.
into the board with technology providers that have a mission and a mandate to support organized real estate.
Yeah.
Namely, because that's the way consumers are going to succeed, right? Through organized real estate. Because otherwise, you don't know if it's a real listing. You don't know if it's valid. You don't know, you can't compare properties. You know, out in the wild world, like just think of Facebook Marketplace, like it's crazy. So, organized real estate is such a technology and a gift. And I think we really need to respect it and look at how we can work together to ensure that we maintain its integrity over time. You look at the lawsuits happening with NAR, and it's never been more important for an agent to be able to show their value. And so what I love about Listed is it can take a great realtor like you and just show your value, like beam it out.
It's a great way to describe it. It's a great way to just, yeah, it's really what it is. It's really added value that we're providing to our clients, because there isn't a meeting with a seller that I have that they don't ask me a question like, maybe I should go exclusive.
Right.
And then my answer is, no, I don't think you want to do that because there's no, like with all these new changes, like there's no real way to do this that's going to be effective for you, right? But as this grows, this is going to be a very effective way to market exclusive listings. And it's going to be exactly what that seller wants, because it is going to be private. It is going to be one-on-one, and it is going to be vetted, which is exactly what they want. So,
Yeah.
I think that as this grows, it's going to be really quite valuable.
And the beautiful thing is, there's this saying that the obstacle is the way. So I think by having all the smart people at the head of organized real estate who came together to make the realtor cooperation policy, by giving us these rules, they actually created this innovation, and it's going to serve them back because now they could actually invite information in a way that allows them to have more accurate statistics, as you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Because they can get the full market through connecting.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm really thrilled that you're here because I really feel honored. You don't show up. You're a very private person. And so I appreciate you doing that. And I just want to ask you, given we have this opportunity, is there anything else you want to share or ask me or comment on that we should bring up?
No, I thought about, what can I get you to do to improve this app? And we talked about it a little bit earlier, and it's all there. So
you'll find something.
No, the only thing that would be for me, and I'm sure for many other people a little bit more valuable, is just once it becomes more international.
Right.
Right? So I don't know where that is in your plans.
Yeah, it's in our soon-to-be trajectory, 2025. I've actually been part of a lot of the groups, the Real Estate Standards Organization, which passes standards down to all the MLSs from an organized central group in the United States, which has actually grown to be international. There's an international MLS form now that's adopting different standards that RISO has, and the Council of MLSs, where all the CEOs of the various MLSs come together to meet.
Yeah.
So there's kind of this zeitgeist of a movement toward keeping organized real estate organized and growing it so that it really does serve consumers everywhere.
Yeah.
So whether it's New York or LA or Chicago or Florida,
right,
it should be possible. In our 10-year vision is to see that any of your clients could be in any city around the world, tap a button and the property pops up, and they're comforted by seeing Suzy, and they can ask you about it. And you, through a few taps, can be like, oh, can you meet Suzette at 4 o'clock on the promenade?
Yeah.
And they say, sure. And they're on vacation, and now they can buy a little pied-à-terre in Spain or wherever it is.
Right.
So it's always making it better. And thank you for asking me like what I would add, because I would say that we are really amplifying our integrations. We always support the MLS, so we always support you. And I just think the key is that it's constantly aligning everybody's interest. For example, we're not a brokerage, we're not an MLS, so the only way we could even promote ourselves is to promote you.
Right.
Right? So the agents on listed promote themselves and each other, and everyone's in the right lane. Like realtors connect to the realtor,
Yeah.
and clients connect to their agent only. Yeah. There's only one agent ever. So, and it makes brokerages that have become listed preferred partners and got their agents signed up, we've seen a 30% increase in deal flow and activity because it's this natural network effects of growth. And then it makes the MLS better because these tools, you can have it look at your face, log into Realm, book a showing, get to your own MLS tool, because you're always going to need that deep tool.
Yes.
So we just want to support great realtors like you. This is worth mentioning, okay, for consumers. There are a new number of realtors, and unfortunately, the industry attracts people who have this. They think it's easy. They think whatever they think.
Yeah.
But you've been in this almost 30 years. Like, it's amazing. And the repeat and referral agents who are constantly basing what they do on how they serve and show up for their clients are the only people we want on it. So there's a free and a premium version, and you can kind of tell your agent by their listed,
Right.
you know? So that's good because we can let realtors make their own choice.
So I'm going to ask you this question because I don't really
Yeah.
know very much
Yeah.
about the difference between the two.
Yes.
So if you can explain that to me, because I know nothing about it.
Okay.
And the other thing is does the client know if you're on which version? And is there a benefit to the client if the agent is on one version or the other?
Okay. I'm so glad you asked that.
Yeah.
We have one driving question that derives all our decision making at listed. And that is, what would love do? So the answer is going to be the consumer being put first. Any agent they want to work with, they can work with without the agent being obligated to pay. So the client has no degraded experience.
Okay.
However, their agent, and they don't know this, if they're not paying for listed, has a limited version. I think you have the full premium version right now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, okay.
So when an agent is invited to pay or not, and it's really inexpensive for the value it provides.
Okay.
But it's like with Facebook, when the product is free, the product is you, right? So that never happens to the consumer unlisted because their agent is always providing it. And the agent is de-risked because always better the agent has listed given to their clients than their clients connecting with a competitor agent.
Right.
Because they weren't professional enough to give a tool that is something they want to use. And then from the agent perspective, you're connected to your colleagues, you're connected to your clients and able to offer them insight and foresight on properties that they might be interested in. You can do all these things that really elevate you as an agent and allow you to show up in a way that
what
gives
are
you so much.
What are the limitations?
So for example, when you tap that button and the property just pops up in front of you, that won't happen anymore on the free version for a realtor. Happens for the client, but it doesn't happen for the realtor.
Okay.
You can look at the map, create a saved search, and have access to the listings in that one saved search, but your saved searches are limited. Your ability to connect to all the insights that you would get to help your clients are somewhat limited as a realtor. You can do the work, you would just have to take more time and energy to do it. So the realtor version is actually only $100 a month paid annually. That was our old pricing. We just increased it to $159. But for basically under $2,000 on any plan, you have the full premium version with everything.
Right.
And you have the trust and ability as a client that your agent is, as you know, using and employing all the tools at the ready that they need
Yeah.
to be serving them.
Right. Exactly. And it's a credibility thing.
It really is.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
So we invite the realtor at a certain point to say, do you want to downgrade or do you want the premium version?
Mhm.
So if we haven't invited you to do that, we will.
Mhm.
But you know, then the realtor is always it's their choice. They
Right.
get, if you don't know what it is, to your point, like you can't make a decision on something unless you've tried it.
Right.
So we thought, what is most fair? Let them absolutely try this, let them benefit by it, and then those great agents are going to define themselves by wanting to keep it as a premium tool.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree.
Well, thank you so much for joining me and for showing up. And your clients, when they share listed, they're actually growing you and your business, and they're having a really easy experience,
Absolutely.
which they're fortunate to have you,
Oh,
which is
thank you.
great.
Thank you. And we're fortunate to have this tool in our toolbox now. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Suzy.
No, I really love it. I think it's really changed the way I do my business 100%. And it is my favorite out of all the tools. And when people are telling me that they're using House Sigma, I'm like, oh, you don't want to do that. You're going to be annoyed every day. And this is just so simple and so easy and just aesthetically also just it's just such an aesthetically beautiful app.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, not to knock anyone other's app or anything, but I think you brought this up earlier, is just that as a consumer, you have choices and you want to make sure the information you're getting is accurate, because it's worse to make a decision based on misinformation. So we're always trying to put the consumer back to their agent to get the answer, because,
Makes
you know,
complete sense.
estimators and things like this don't work, and they can foil your ability to sell at the right time
Right.
or win the right property.
And get accurate information. It's the bottom line.
Yeah.
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 So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This was a lot of fun. And I keep learning more and more, which is amazing.
We'll check in again.
Absolutely. For sure.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.